welcome into episode 68. We titled this one Restless, and you'll see why in a minute. We were invited out to Norwalk because the homeowners are having trouble getting a good night's sleep. It seems almost every night there's a knocking, banging sound that is waking up the homeowner, and she's actually filmed it. There's a little clip here for you to see, and you'll understand why it wakes her up. They've had other paranormal activity too, but this is really what brought us out there. So our goal is to really figure out who's doing that, why they're doing that, see if we can get them to stop, and then of course we always cross everybody over who's ready to go. So we're going to start first off with the interview. This is a little different format. We hope you like it. Shelley will explain what happens next when she starts her interview.
Alright, so we're here with Lena, Maggie, and Brad in their beautiful home in Norwalk. Thank you for having us. So we did things a little bit different this time around, and what we did is we had Randy do a walkthrough with you, where initially I would do an interview and then he would do the walkthrough. So we're a little bit backwards, but so Randy did his walkthrough.
I'm glad we did it that way.
Okay, alright, because I know you guys have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So, the question is, what were your impressions of what Randy was saying?
Almost 100% spot on, to the point that right before you guys got here, I told Brad, just in my personal thing, 2 men, 1 woman. That's it. That's all I told him. Just from what I feel from here.
Yeah,
and
like,
Randy was
she's
spot on.
never told me that before, and like 10 minutes before you guys got here, she's like, just so you know, before he says anything, this is what I feel.
You're not the only one, so now you're picking up somebody else.
Yeah, there's, in my opinion, three.
Okay. So 1 male and,
I believe maybe 2 males, 1.
okay.
So you feel like there's 2 men and 1 woman
Yeah.
here.
Which
Constant.
is exactly what he
Constant.
said.
And so I didn't walk through with Randy, so I'm not sure what he said. So, and that's exactly what
Exactly.
Randy said too.
And then him saying everything from the front to the back. And that's the sounds we hear, they come from the front to the back.
It's front to back, front to back.
Yep.
And it all originates in the front to the back. So
Mhm.
there's, even just coming into here, I almost felt like I had to stop.
Yeah.
And allow passage.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is front to back. That's all I talked about today. Hallways and doors. So it's one of those, like I say every once in a while, I have those oh shit moments, you know, like, oh shit, I'm right. It's like it goes, like it's never ending to me.
Uh-huh.
Like you walk in the front door and the hallway just continues to get longer and longer and longer, and it narrows, and it's like right through the windows. That's why I wanted to see what was behind.
And the window, she hates that window.
Okay, you're talking
The-
about
the dining room
window.
window.
The dining room window? Okay, why do you hate the window?
I always feel like I'm being watched
Okay.
from every direction. I have to have my back to the window. I cannot focus on it.
She constantly asks us to put blinds on it,
Yeah.
because currently it doesn't have blinds.
So you mentioned about noises that you've been hearing. What type of noises are they?
The number one noises is it sounds like someone's walking down the hallway into our bedroom, and then we hear bangs over and over and over again.
talking about the whole family collectively?
It's mainly
Everybody
Brad and I,
here?
because that's our bedroom,
Okay.
which she's heard them too. Our son, who's not here, has heard them. Actually, it was the first time last weekend. He woke us up.
Okay, in the same area?
He didn't know where because our son
Mhm.
is only here pretty much on the weekends because he's at college.
And I've heard him in the basement, and then she'll text me a few minutes later, like, "Do you hear that? Go listen." And then she's listening up here, I'm listening down there, just trying to pinpoint it more. And we've never been able to like exactly narrow in where it's coming from.
Okay, and have you ascertained that it's, not the house settling or like any of the duct work? And have you investigated when you first started
Right.
hearing it? Did you investigate it?
It doesn't correlate with the furnace running. That is one thing that we did look into. It is fairly new construction, fairly recent furnace. I've listened for that. I don't think it correlates with that. We've even turned it off.
For a week and we still hear it.
And
It does sound like floorboards that someone's
yes.
walking through.
the
But then the
floorboards.
bangs, some of them are so loud the whole room rattles.
So when it's banging, does it seem like they're banging on the walls or on the ceiling?
Walls and floor.
Yeah.
Both walls and
Yeah.
And the doors.
Mhm.
Like, not necessarily banging on the doors, but grabbing the handle and pushing it back and forth.
The one thing that we did want to talk about was the third night that
Yeah.
we lived here. We were still on air mattresses. There was nothing in the house except for what we brought in the car. And that night, I don't know the time, probably 1, 2 in the morning.
2, 3, 4.
And I'll let you describe it more because the time
It
I woke
woke
up and
me
tried to
up.
investigate, it stopped. But
Because we bought the house off the football coach. We really thought that the team didn't realize because the house was sitting empty. We bought it, but we're still in
we hadn't
Virginia.
changed the locks yet. So I honestly thought there was
We
like
thought
10
You
people.
thought
They
somebody
came
was
in to
the
party.
house.
I thought like 10 people like this is an empty house, or let's go scare them one more time before they leave. Maybe they had a key. I really thought that.
And the back door didn't lock.
Okay, so what were you hearing?
It sounded like people were walking around, running around, the floorboards creaking up and down the stairs, and then banging on the walls. It was enough that he didn't wake up because he never wakes up. But it woke me up. It woke our son up.
It didn't wake me up. I was already awake.
Yeah, she was.
But she had a
hiding
blanket over
under-
her head crying. in the
Yeah.
basement. She thought people
It
were
honestly sounded like someone was running up and down the stairs, like smacking the walls as they were going, running all around the whole house.
Going back to Randy's walkthrough, as he went through each specific room, is there anything that he said that clicked and correlated with what's going on?
The biggest thing for me was when he was in the guest room up front,
Okay.
which was really more just talking and just describing what he felt in the house. Is that going back to the wood and the mill workers that he had talked about? My grandpa lived in Norwalk, owned his own wood shop, and had it. I don't know exactly how long, but he was a woodworker. He did have his own business. There's lots of stuff in this house that he personally built. I even have the original sign from his shop in my garage. So immediately, as soon as he went right to a woodworker, someone who worked with his hands, someone who's a perfectionist, all that, gave me chills. That hit immediately.
Nice. I perceive him, and I say that only because I'm not getting a real clear picture, but it's almost like he either was in this area as a mill worker, and I say like a wood mill,
Okay.
and his thing was building stuff, and he's hung up on something with either the construction of this particular house or the construction in the neighborhood. But, yeah.
But it might not necessarily be dangerous.
No. To me, it almost comes across like somebody who is a perfectionist at building fine furniture or
Okay.
something.
So I'm getting the
And-
picture a little bit more now.
Gave me chills. That hit immediately.
But
Now,
he's saying that it came from the front to the back. It keeps coming from the front to the back. That's what I hear, nonstop. It
Mhm.
sounds like someone's coming down that hallway into my bedroom. So there's been so many times that I thought it's Brad, or in the middle of the night, I've rolled over like, "What's wrong, Maggie?"
Mhm.
And she's sound asleep in her room.
So how often is this occurring? Is this
Almost every night.
a nightly thing? Is it happening at the same time every
No.
night?
We're going to take a quick pause here because on the walkthrough with Randy, we got a traditional EVP. Typically, not always, but typically, there's a knock before a traditional EVP is picked up, and that's what clued Dave in that there was something coming. He's highlighted this here, see if you can hear it.
Everything to me is front.
We started the first ITC session, and we did a couple things differently. First, we did a bullpen session, which included the homeowners. We thought this was critical for getting the spirits to talk to us. We also did a formal introduction to the spirits. We wanted them to know why we were there, what we were going to do. And I think this really helped. We got a lot of communication in this first session. Now, we did sessions all through the house, including downstairs in the game room. You won't see that footage here because we really pull out the best footage, the best EVPs, the best validation, which there's some wonderful validation in this first session. And we leave the rest of it there. Nobody wants to watch 4 hours of film, especially in the dark with no EVPs or ITCs. So this really had a lot of information in it. We wondered who Walter was. See if you can figure out who Walter was. Once again, you'll hear that comment that maybe we're getting spirits that are sent to us from the other side. And also, there's some information about a family member there, which is always great to get, but you listen to it and you decide if the family member was there or if they were just talking about the family member. Okay, you'll have to be patient with us because we don't always hear what you're saying right away, so we may ask you to repeat yourself. So you're here, we heard a lady's voice. Can you...
It was my husband.
Can you tell us how many of you were here?
What the?
Did we hear a number?
That is.
I swore I just heard his practice name.
I've been listening.
Aloysius Hubert. So you went by Bob. I swore I just heard Al Hubert.
Did we hear Al Hubert?
He wouldn't have said Al.
People called him Al.
Thanks.
I think I heard thanks. I heard there. Do you know these people sitting on the couch?
But yeah, when you first.
We're gonna help you. We're gonna help you.
Yeah.
All right, who's keeping the family awake at night? Well, at least half the family awake at night with banging.
Is there a reason?
Or
I'm hearing Walter.
Walter?
I've heard it twice.
Is somebody's here named Walter?
there is.
There is.
There is.
That was a whole lot.
Something about never.
See if you can get Walter to validate something.
Walter, could you do me a favor
The street.
and come close to these lights like this? If you come close, you can get them to light up. Could you do that for me, Walter?
And
I can't.
Why can't you?
it was in
Could someone else try besides Walter?
Hurt.
Yeah, we've gotten that before when we've asked them to touch the REM pod, they say it hurts.
Is it painful? Is that why you can't come close?
I heard pain.
Okay, well, don't do it if it's painful. We don't want to cause you any pain.
I need you to say Norwalk. Concentrate, please. Norwalk.
They think you're
They think you're an idiot? And before that, I heard I am.
He's talking
Sure.
shit. Did you hear that? He's
Yeah.
talking shit. How about candy apple?
I heard it.
I heard heard it.
Is-
It was a background echo. Yeah.
Say it again, please. Candy apple.
Apple. Heard it.
Is this easier?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try validation. I'm gonna hold up fingers. Can somebody tell me how many I'm holding up? Anybody, please?
Two.
Thank you. Who was it that pointed to
Walter
the...
again, that's a different, point out that it's a different software. We have Walter on two different algorithms.
Who was it that pointed to the chair downstairs as quality workmanship?
I heard Aloysius. I heard it. I did.
Try to.
So is Aloysius, AKA Bob, here? I feel like I should... What bothers you about those stairs?
There, yeah.
It sounds like a lot of you are sort of talking at once.
Yeah.
Aloysius, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Everything down.
Everything
Like
down.
Everything's cool.
For validation again too, and can somebody here tell me who was the President of the United States during the Civil War?
I heard it. Everyone did. I heard it.
For validation again too, and can somebody here tell me who was the President of the United States during the Civil War?
I heard it. Everyone did. I heard it. The lady here that Randy picked up on and that we've been hearing. Could you give us your name, please, ma'am?
Alan.
Alfred.
Yeah.
Have you met Alfred?
Yeah, that's Dave. What do you need help with?
So much at once. It sounds like there's like something going at the same time.
There's an animal in the window. Can you tell us what animal that is? Maybe you'd like to go say hi? I heard kitten.
What color is it? What color is the kitten?
Green.
I think Gray.
Yeah.
I think Gray.
I heard that was the second time I heard it.
Do you guys play with the kitten a lot?
Who said I do?
I'm very like sobbing. I'm not hearing words. I'm hearing crying sound.
Who is it that's so upset they're weeping? In this next session, Dave and Shelley actually move through the whole side of the house where they're having most of the activity. If you remember through the walkthrough and the client interview, they talked about energy going from the front door to the back, out the back of the house. That actually, navigationally, is south to north, so all the energy is heading north. We don't know why that is. It could have something to do before there was housing there, how the land was used before. And we kind of get an indication of that because somebody's going to talk about a barn and some farm animals, and they could be from that time period before there were even any houses there. The other thing that's kind of interesting with that energy going through is Dave gets pushed. I'm not so sure that it's pushed. He stands right in the way of that energy. It could just be that that energy is so powerful, it's giving him a little push out the door. So listen to what comes next and see if you can kind of pick out who's kind of joking. There's some joking. Who's talking about the knocking and who's not talking about the knocking. We don't know if we got an answer to that. You decide.
Come close to these devices and make them light up. Please make the banging noise again. I would like to hear it. Who is pushing me?
Who's in this room with us?
I was literally being pushed forward. I was using my front toes. Did you feel that?
Uh-oh.
Did you feel anything?
Why did you push Dave?
It wasn't aggressive. It was just like pushing me forward.
Do you want him to go towards something? Or are you being facetious?
Okay, we're going to start our ITC session. Hello? Hi, who is this? Who was pushing me? Sandusky. Can somebody say that again? Can you say Sandusky for validation?
Can you make this noise for me? Can you do that?
No. Can someone move the fan blade up here? Can you push your energy to move that fan blade and maybe make it turn for me, please? I know it's a lot to ask. Stoplight? What happened at the stoplight? Say candy apple, please. Do you know my name? What's my name? Please understand, we want to help you. Can you help us? I need you to say Norwalk. Norwalk. Can you make the banging noise for me, please?
Don't be afraid. We're here to help you. We just want it validation. Make the banging noise for us. Lena again?
Did you say Lena? What is your name?
Who sleeps here?
Who's setting off the meters? Can you set them off again? You want us to open the light, right? Yes. Yes, we can help. Did you just say my name? What's my name? Is Alfred with you right now? Yep.
How many Christians are here?
All of them?
Are you
All
all
of them.
Christian? Great. So you're ready to go home, aren't you? You ready to go home to God?
As always, at the end of the night, we did our crossover. And once again, we don't know if it's because somebody's bringing spirits to us or because we did a formal introduction and they're comfortable with us, but we feel like we got a lot of ITC communication in this crossover. We know there were a couple children there, You'll hear a child's voice, and you'll also hear a lot of joy. Like we say, it's always emotional, but when you hear that joy, it's pretty amazing. Also, if you listen to some of the ITCs, you're going to hear voices that you heard earlier in the EVPs. So take a look. One other thing to look for, you'll notice the homeowners get distracted. That's because our EMF meter in the kitchen started going off as soon as we started praying the light open. It's the only time the whole night that thing pegged in the red.
Okay.
Leaving.
He's leaving. Did you hear that? Who's leaving? The spirit gone. Take them into the light. This is your chance to go home. Father, open up that light. Bring your children home. You're happy. We're happy. Did you? Oh, thank you, Father. Bring them home. Take them home.
Free.
Please help the children.
Take the kids. All your children. Bring them home, Father. Is the meter going off?
There's something that's been going off this whole time.
It's the meter. It's the EMF
Okay.
detector. Tell us what you see. Father, we thank you so much. This is why we do what we do. Any spirits that are here that are afraid, don't be. Go in that light. They said, oh wow, did you hear that? We're happy they've come. Any spirit that's hesitant, this is your chance. Lord, we pray to you that you keep that light open just a little bit long for those who are hesitant. If you're not of God, not of the light, or in the light, you cannot stay here. Do you understand that? Father, thank you for taking children home. Keep this light open a little longer. And we pray to you, Lord, that you will protect this family and protect this home. Shield this home with your love and your mercy. And your grace is not welcome in this home.
Keep it open. Said keep it open.
There's more coming. This is your chance. The light is open. I'm home. Lift them up, Father. Take them home. Bring them into the light.
Here.
Keep that light open just a little bit longer and bring them home.
You know, we get a lot of questions about the outcomes of our cases. So we're including a little piece here on the outcome. We weren't gone from that house more than a half an hour until they started hearing that knocking noise again. So obviously that spirit didn't go into the light with all the other spirits. And actually Dave has an idea that it might be a mechanical issue, probably an outside chance, but we always want to test any other theories to see if they're true. And we'll be doing that with the homeowners. So we couldn't solve this mystery, and that means our homeowners are going to remain restless.